we've both done TV interviews, and they're not easy. You know, the lights. You know, they're used to it, we're not, and this kind of stuff. And you know, the more you do, the better you get. And so, you know, I think in general terms, Naomi did really well, because it's a very high pressure situation, and this particular interviewer doesn't help. So I'm going to stop this little thing, because she basically asks about 5, if not 6 questions at once, which is like the worst thing you can do to an interviewee.
I've been in the same situation myself. You end up only really answering 1 or 2 of the questions, because you kind of,
well, you can't remember them all.
First of all, you can't remember them all, and secondly, after you've answered 1 or 2 questions, the interviewer then asks another question.
That's right. Yeah,
so you're not given a chance to answer the other ones.
And that's actually a media technique. I mean, people like Piers Morgan would do that. Make several points. If you try to address them before you got to the end of point 1, he'd be in there again.
Yeah, and then you have to remember all the ones that he asked in the first place, and then go on and answer the supplementary one that he's asked. So really, it's not a very good way of exploring a subject. You know, the idea is to, you know, let's get to the truth of this. You know, let's get to the actual facts, and let's get to find out what this person has to say about it. And it kind of it doesn't do that. It's more a means of the interviewer putting across their point of view, which they're not supposed to do. And I mean, the interviews are mixed, isn't there? You know, she does make some very good points, and then there's some things that are questionable within it. It's not like kind of one thing or the other, really, is it?
No. But going back to our time, it's hard to do a perfect interview as well, isn't it?
Kind of very difficult to do a perfect interview.
I mean, how many times did you leave the studio thinking, "Oh, I wish I'd said this, and I wish I'd said that"?
Yeah, there tends to be always things that you kind of wish you'd said. And kind of my, you know, whenever I do interviews, my golden rule is the thing that I want to say the most, say it as soon as possible, because you don't know, you very often don't know how long the interview is going to last. So you get that in as quickly as possible, and you kind of say what you want to say rather than what the interviewer's asking you. Anyone doing an interview on the television or the radio, what you got to remember is who you're communicating with is the public. Not the interviewer. I mean,
half the time the interviewer doesn't expect you to answer, do they? I mean, they don't necessarily expect you to answer.
No, and once you start saying something, you're saying it, aren't you? You know, so say what you want to say. Whatever they ask you, say what you want to say, because who you're communicating with is the public, and you've got to think, what message do I want the public to hear? Yeah,
actually, you know, Tom Reagan was really skilled at that. And if you listen, you can go on YouTube, but there's an audio of his appearance on the Moral Maze, and a couple of times, about 2 or 3 times, they were trying to interrupt him, probably on the basis that they didn't think he was answering the question. But he would go, "Excuse me, if I may finish," which is a great kind of way of doing it, because it makes them look the rude one then. So he was really kind of good at that in terms of interview technique.
But you see, with this whole thing, what I'd like to say is, it's like I kind of understand that these people are trying to do something positive. They're wanting to promote veganism. This is an idea they've had whereby they think, oh, this is going to, make a lot more people vegan. This is kind of why they've done it. I think they're fundamental.
No, I don't think that's true, Ronnie. They're not promoting veganism.
They're promoting what they think is vegan. They're promoting what they think is veganism. Yes. And they think, if more people adopted a vegan diet, then it's better for the animals and etc. Yeah, that's what they're thinking. So,
I mean, vegan, ironically, I mean, we tended to try to kind of make that separation, plant-based and vegan and all that, to be meaningful. And now they've been brought back together again, and vegan becomes the shorthand for plant-based diet.
Yes, and this is the problem. And I think, going back to what I said previously, I think there's an explanation why, advertisers are all too happy for people to believe that, because it is not a threat to corporate business.